won't believe what happened to me yesterday. My own family, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally completely, cut me off. Not because I did something terrible, or because of some huge scandal. No, it was something way simpler but just as brutal. I chose a path they couldn't accept. They disowned me. No calls, no texts, no explanation, just silence like I never existed. Can you imagine waking up and realizing the people who raised you don't want anything to do with you anymore? That's where I was, alone, rejected. And honestly, it crushed me. But what happened next? That's the part that will shock you even more. Just a few years later, that same path I chose the crazy idea. They mockled me to build a Fortune 500 company, a billion-dollar empire that they once scoffed at. Now, they want in. But when they came crawling back, they weren't looking for forgiveness or family. They wanted to use my success for their own gain. So what did I do? Did I forgive them? Did I open my arms? Or did I shut the door forever? If you're going through something like this right now, comment 1, so I know I'm not alone. Like this video if you've ever felt invisible in your own home. And subscribe if you believe every voice, even the forgotten ones, deserve to be heard. My name's Quinn. For as long as I can remember, I was the odd one out in my family. My dad, a hard-edged businessman stuck in his ways, never hid his disappointment every time I talked about my dreams. His jaw would clench tight, and he'd shoot me these cold looks across the dinner table, like I was speaking a foreign language. My mom, the perfect picture of control and composure, always had that tight-lipped smile, the one that didn't reach her eyes whenever I skipped family gatherings for a tech conference or startup meeting. Those little things, the sideways glances, the awkward silences, the way my siblings would suddenly find something urgent to do whenever I entered the room they piled up, one by one. Even Lisa, my wife and the one person who truly believed in me, started noticing the cracks. After calls with my parents, I'd come home drained, shoulders heavy and words few. One night, she gently asked, "What are they really saying, Quinn?" I wanted to brush it off, but inside I was crumbling. And then there was Mark, my best friend and business partner. He saw it all from the start and never sugarcoated it. "They don't just disagree with your choices," he said bluntly. "They're scared you're breaking the mold, and that scares them more than they'll ever admit." At family dinners, the tension was suffocating. My dad barely looked at me. My mom's eyes would flicker with frustration just before she excused herself to the kitchen. My sister's smiles became strained, her hugs fleeting. One night, during what was supposed to be a family intervention, my dad slammed his fist on the table and said, "You're chasing a fantasy that'll ruin your life." My mom's voice cracked as she whispered, "We're trying to save you from yourself." The room went cold. I wanted to fight back. I wanted to scream that they didn't understand. But mostly, I felt alone, like I was losing them piece by piece, even as I was fighting to find myself. Still, I pushed forward. For Lisa. For Mark. For the stubborn voice inside me that refused to give up. But every day, the question haunted me: how long until this silent war turned into something I couldn't come back from? It started with a call that shook me to my core. My sister's number flashed on my phone late one night out of the blue, after months of silence. I debated ignoring it, but something about the urgency in her voice when I finally answered made my heart pound. "Quinn, Mom and Dad, they're furious. They say you've been ignoring them on purpose. They want to meet. They want answers," she said, her voice trembling. I swallowed hard. Was this some kind of trap? A test? Or worse? Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet them. Lisa begged to come, but I told her this was something I had to face alone. I needed to see for myself how deep the fracture had become. Walking into my childhood home felt like stepping into a storm. The air was thick with tension. Every creak of the floorboard seemed louder than it should be. My parents sat like statues, cold, unreadable. My sister hovered anxiously nearby, her eyes avoiding mine. Then it happened. My dad slammed his fist down on the coffee table, making the whole room jump. This company, this obsession of yours, it's tearing this family apart. You don't care about us. You don't care about anything but yourself. I felt my blood boil, but I held back. Mom's voice cut through the silence like a knife. You've changed, Quinn. We don't even recognize you anymore. You're chasing a fantasy that's going to destroy you and us. I opened my mouth, ready to fight back. But then my sister, the one I trusted most, stood up, her face flushed with anger and hurt. You're selfish. You think your success makes you better than us? You walk away when we needed you most. You broke this family. Her words hit me harder than any insult. The betrayal in her eyes was unbearable. In that moment, I lost it. I shouted, You don't get it. I did everything for this family, but all you did was push me away. You didn't want me here. The room fell silent again, but this time it was suffocating. I stormed out into the night, heart pounding, feeling more alone than ever. I knew then that this wasn't just a fight about a company or a career. It was a war for who I was, and whether they would ever accept me. But the worst part? This was only the beginning. It was supposed to be the moment when things would finally change, when we could clear the air and maybe start healing. But what happened? It was the darkest, most brutal betrayal I've ever faced. Just days after that family confrontation, I received a message from someone I trusted, a mutual friend who was close to both sides. They told me something I never expected. My family wasn't trying to reconcile. They were plotting against me. I was stunned, frozen for a moment. How could the people who raised me, who promised to love me no matter what, become my greatest enemies? Behind my back, they had been spinning lies, rumors that I was reckless with company funds, that my business was doomed to fail, that I was an ungrateful son who burned every bridge. They weren't just whispering in the shadows, they went straight to my investors, trying to convince them to pull out and abandon everything I'd built. And the worst, my sister, the person I'd trusted more than anyone, was the ringleader. She was the mastermind behind the smear campaign, carefully poisoning the well of my reputation. Every word I ever confided to her was used like a weapon against me. I felt my world crumble. The anger bubbled up like a volcano ready to erupt. How could she? How could they? The people I had called family had become traitors in the worst way possible. I fought back with everything I had, working day and night to keep the company alive, to prove the lies wrong. But the pressure was suffocating. The isolation was overwhelming. I wasn't just fighting for my business, I was fighting for my identity, for my sanity. Nights blurred into days. I remember sitting alone in my office, staring blankly at the ceiling, heart pounding, wondering how someone I loved so much could turn so cold, so cruel. How could blood become my enemy? And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I discovered they had gone even further, using every connection, every lie, every secret they could find to try and destroy me completely. I was powerless, furious, broken, and utterly alone. If you told me a year ago that this would be my reality, I wouldn't have believed you. But it was real, and it was just the beginning of a battle I never saw coming. After the storm had passed, what was left behind wasn't just broken relationships, it was a deep, aching void that swallowed everything I once held dear. Mom and Dad, the people who had been my anchors, suddenly felt like strangers. The phone calls stopped. The texts vanished. Family gatherings? I wasn't invited. It was like I had been erased from their world, like all those years we shared, all the memories, didn't matter. I still remember the hollow silence when I reached out, the way my messages were read but never answered. It felt like a slow, quiet death. And then there was my sister, the person I trusted most, me confidant. My childhood partner in crime became the hardest loss of all. She didn't just walk away, she slammed the door shut and threw away the key. No explanations, no goodbyes. Just a cold absence that screamed louder than words ever could. Every attempt to reconnect was met with icy silence or vague excuses. The betrayal was a knife twisting deeper every day. Friends started fading too. The ones who didn't pick a side just quietly slipped away, unwilling to get caught in the crossfire. I was left standing alone, surrounded by the wreckage of what used to be a loving network of support. There were nights long, endless nights, when the loneliness felt unbearable. I would lie awake, heart heavy, staring at the ceiling, replaying memories like old films. The warmth of family dinners, the laughter, the shared secrets all reduced to shadows. I found myself questioning everything. Was it worth it? Had I been selfish? Did I choose this path knowing it would cost me everything? The pain was raw, the kind that gnaws at your soul, that threatens to break you. But buried beneath that pain was a sparker, stubborn, fierce flame that refused to be snuffed out. Lisa stood by me, a constant beacon of hope in the darkness. Mark, my best friend, never wavered. Their faith reminded me I wasn't alone. Slowly, I learned to carry the weight of loss without letting it crush me. I can't say the scars have healed, maybe they never will, but I wear them like armor now, a reminder of how far I've come and how much strength it takes to rebuild from ashes. If you've ever been abandoned, betrayed, or left feeling invisible by those you love, know this: your pain is real, but so is your power to rise. You're not alone. Reddit blew up when I shared my story. Some folks jumped in with full-on support. One commenter said, "Quinn, you're a legend for sticking to your guns. Screw the family drama, build your empire." Others got really emotional, sharing their own tales of family betrayal and cheering me on. But, of course, not everyone was on my side. A few skeptics popped up saying, "Sounds like Quinn's just burning bridges and playing the victim." One sarcastic user joked, "Classic rich kid disowned story, bet he was just lazy before getting lucky." Ouch! Then there were the tough love types. Comments like, "Families aren't perfect. Sometimes tough love means cutting ties for your own good." Some warned that success doesn't fix all wounds and advised, maybe forgiveness is the real victory here. And the drama? It was real. Someone joked, "This sounds like a Netflix drama waiting to happen. Where's the popcorn?" Another warned, "Watch out. Quinn family feuds get messy, and money can make it worse." The mix of cheers, jeers, and laughs showed me one thing. Family drama is messy, complicated, and no one has the perfect answer. But hey, at least it made for some seriously entertaining Reddit threads. So here we are, a family torn apart, a dream nearly destroyed, and a success story shadowed by betrayal. I've shared my side, but I'm leaving the judgment to you. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you forgive and rebuild? Or close the door forever? Who do you think is really at fault here, me for chasing my dream, or them for turning their backs? And, most importantly, can forgiveness truly heal wounds this deep? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. If this story hit home, please like and share so others can join the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that don't shy away from the tough questions. Thank you for listening and being part of this journey with me. Your support means everything.